You last saw us in the cave digging and screening bones, and now since that time the bones have been cleaned in the lab back at the Indiana State Museum. The bones have been preserved, and now we've got all of the bones laid out before you as they're being mended and having all the parts put back together. So we've got the entire bone sample that we dug last October in Indiana Caverns before us. We've got parts of at least 6 adult animals and 2 little babies. The process involved taking each bone individually, washing it, getting it clean, sometimes flicking off all the flowstone mineral matter on top of it, slowly drying the bones, and then immersing them in a resin called bootvar to strengthen these things. And at this point, they're all strong enough that we can begin all the gluing and putting back together the parts that were broken really during excavation. And that's a lot of the process that's taking place right now. After we get all the gluing together, and it's underway right now. I mean, we've got Ellie is putting these bones together daily, fitting all the minute details. And my next task then is to catalog the remains, to actually apply numbers to the bones, to write with India ink, permanent numbers on these, and that way we can track where they were found in the cave and refer just to this one bone. We catalog everything, and then we get it in a database, and then we start analyzing all the information here. How many animals are there? What are the different age possibilities? Are they 3-year-olds? Are they 10-year-old peccaries? We start looking at all the microfauna, all the small bones that we found that were selected out under the microscope to see what kind of animals were found with these animals, to help understand sort of what the past environmental conditions were. And I know we had, I think, Plains pocket gopher among the remains, which is today found in the prairies in northwestern Indiana. It only occurs in in prairie areas, shortgrass prairie. So when these bones were deposited, Indiana Caverns likely had open fields and prairie in the area when that happened, with some enclaves of woodlands. So that's sort of the process at this point. Catalog, start analysis, seeing why this bone deposit formed, how it got there, and why it was preserved this way. And remember, this is just one little sample, just a very small percent of the huge amount of bone at Indiana Caverns. This is probably 1% or less of that bone sample. There's an immense amount. It could take hundreds of years to do analysis. So this is just one little part of this, but it has began.